and asked me to do that. So, yes.
It is my fault.
Yes.
Okay. Our friend Ali, it is the director of human rights in Saudi Arabia. He's a fantastic gentleman. I like him very much because he is straightforward in what he's saying. He doesn't believe in political correctness like us. I am glad to have him here because we need to hear from him about the human rights violation in Saudi Arabia, and I believe he had a fantastic topic to explain to us. I welcome Dr. Ali.
Thank you very much. Sorry I came late because I have another engagement, so I didn't hear all the presentations. I'm sure you have heard enough about Islam and the Sharia law and Hadith and their implications for us in this country and other places. I am from Saudi Arabia, and I know exactly what Mr. Spencer has been saying, and I do believe it. His last statements, I believe in the same thing he believes in, and that's why I do the work I do. Saudi Arabia, I'm asked to speak about human rights in Saudi Arabia under the Saudi Wahhabi system. The system itself is actually predicated on entire human rights, period. It's a system that, as have been mentioned here, the Quran itself is the Saudi constitution. That's what the government is saying, and it's written, and this is the Saudi system, and the Sharia is the law of the land. So those two are the main systems of the country, yet human rights in Saudi Arabia it doesn't exist and grossly violated by the system. So that tells you something about the Quran and the Sharia. This is the birthplace of Islam. The Quran is the constitution, the Sharia is the law, and there is no respect for women, minorities, non-Muslims. Saudi Arabia is the only country on this planet where you actually cannot pray, even secretly, if you are not a Muslim. And if you are a Muslim minority, you cannot pray publicly and exercise your rights as a Muslim. You are not Jew, you are not Christian, you are not anybody. It's against the Saudi system. For Shiites and Sunni, Ismailis and Ahmadis and other minorities to practice their rituals without government interference. So there is very little. Women have no rights in Saudi Arabia. They cannot drive a car. They cannot marry anybody they want. They cannot get even they cannot get life-saving medication without man approval. A woman cannot, for example, deliver her baby in a hospital unless a male relative approves of it. She could die. The baby could die if man doesn't sign a piece of paper for her to deliver her baby. The judicial system in Saudi Arabia is arbitrary. It's up to the judge and the mood the judge to pass a sentence against anybody. There is no rule of law. So there's very little I could tell you. Probably you didn't know about Saudi Arabia. Many of you have probably given talks and speeches, and the people here in this table have done quite a bit of research and writing and about the Saudi system. My biggest concern is the Saudi government today has more influence on our country and our learning institutions and our think tanks and our politicians, including especially this building right here. And this is across the board. It's Jews, Christians, black, white, men, women, liberal, conservative, and everybody. This is my biggest fear, actually, is the Saudi influence on everybody. And unfortunately, during economic difficulties, which we are in this country, we are in this one, these Saudis are pouring a lot of money into our treasury. And we could talk until we die, and our grandchildren die, and talk about the Quran and the Sharia and the Hadith and oppression and all of this. It will never make a dent as long as our treasury depends upon Saudi and other Gulf state money. So what we need to do is a policy. I am totally opposed to any application of the Sharia law or the Quran or any other religion to replace our laws. I mean, totally, whether it's Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, anybody. I'm against religions, period. Let alone have them implemented in this country. So I'm against all of that, and I have said it publicly. And frankly speaking, I argue this with, I have a huge communication with Saudis inside Saudi Arabia, the internet. I engage them in these discussions. I said, if Islam and Sharia law are good, why are Muslims the most backward people on this planet? And you know what? It's not always a very nice discussion. Hardly a very nice discussion, especially at the beginning. But as time goes by, a lot of them actually, these are Saudis. These are Saudi people. My work is partially here, partially. I'm more interested in changing the minds there, because here it's hopeless. So as time goes by, they are actually listening and agreeing with me. Why are we? Is it, and I don't say this is Islam, this is Sharia. I said, what is it? What is it? You are smart people, you are intelligent people, you like what everybody likes, you drive nice cars, you like homes. So what is it that keep you backward? And that's when they start thinking about the Sharia law and the teaching of Islam. So I engage a lot of people in this. I discuss this on television, the Arabic television, on Hurra, Al Jazeera, you name it. And it's not always pleasant confrontation, but it's important for me that those people themselves look in instead of blaming everybody. The Jews, the Israelis, those of you who, I read the piece you wrote, those of you who read the WikiLeaks, I'm grateful for this guy actually. Those of you who if I have money, I would send them a check for $5 just to show my appreciation. Those of you who read what the Saudis are doing and saying would know that the only item in their agenda is their survival, domination, and those things could only happen by exporting Wahhabi ideology, including maybe especially to this country. Crown Prince Sultan, who was very sick, he could be the next king, but he's sick, summoned up the top Saudi officials in May of this year to his palace. And that includes the foreign minister, the intelligence director, the mufti, the finance minister, and summoned them, this is the first time it has ever been done, and I have written about this actually, to his palace in Riyadh, and said we should increase our financial support to all Muslim, or I have information if anybody wants it, I could send, this is written, it's Saudi papers. We should support all Muslim groups in any country they live in. And the target is this country. America is the target actually. It's not It's not Europe. Europe is gone. But America now is the target for two reasons. If America is gone, you push the world goodbye. Everybody is an easy target, and that's the end of the story. In October, during the so why would the foreign minister be invited, and the Mufti, and also the Saudi intelligence director? Why would they be invited and be encouraged to support this organization? There is a reason for that. In October of this year, during the commotions about this Ground Zero mosque here in New York, King Abdullah got incensed, and he summoned his ministers. I call them his slaves. His ministers, and said there should be a foundation that should build Muslim centers, mosques everywhere in the world. And he himself is supposed to be financing it. The money he steals from the people. He said, I'll pay for it. This is the response to what happened in New York. The issue here, folks, is this, and this our government here, and this our Congress, who's, as far as I am concerned, is spineless and corrupt, as corrupt as it gets here. And this, they stand up and defend our constitutions and Bill of Rights and human rights. We are in trouble. We need national policy that forbids Islam from being implemented in this country or any religion. The signs are not very good, because the Oklahomans recently voted 70% of the Oklahomans to forbid the Sharia and the international law of being implemented in Oklahoma. And this is 70% of the Oklahoman people who is against these things. A judge who was appointed by Secretary Clinton, or her husband, one of them, rejected that. Okay? So we have problems here. The issue is actually here. The Saudis are extremely clever. They do what's in their best interest. The problem is, what's in their best interest is our detriment. It's abolition of our constitution, Bill of Rights, human rights, gay rights, votes, freedom of speech, like what has been mentioned here. So that's the issue we have to deal with. In Saudi Arabia, lots of things happen that I bark about all the time. Nobody listens, nobody hears. Recently, a religious man actually, who teaches at Imam Muhammad University in Riyadh, Islamic University, where all the suicide bombers in Iraq graduated from. This is a Saudi government school. This is documented as well.